Hey, welcome back to Cleftlan Nights, the never-ending story of the gaming that we do on Tuesday nights. And well, let's kick this off right away with story that's going on. And oh, this is for the gaming that took place the week of 26 September 2017, and this is episode 38. And uh, well, let's pick up on Black World, which is Earth-210, and these are the characters that came from that world, 7 March 2017. And they're on the asteroid that is floating, which is called Black World. And they've been here. This is the second day they've been here or connected to this world. And after lunch, the teams Argonauts, Omega Dawn, and Stars play in the Fantasia Device, running 3 different scenarios. And we go over each of those things, what's going on in the 3 hours of the afternoon until dinner. Stars, which is who are made up of Chris Ritz, Wally West, Clarice Ferguson, Peter Parker, Mary Marvel, Kamala, Gwen Stacy, and Sam Alexander. Whew. And yeah, they're stars. And what they're doing is running a well, first off, their scenario is set in New York City Central Park, and they're playing like a game sort of thing where they can try out each other's powers. Like everybody will have Kamala's power, and so that they can understand what that's like. And for like Wally and Chris, who have other senses, immediately losing those senses and then having her power to get stretch and move, you know. So then they go from her powers to like say Wally's, where everybody has Wally's super speed, and to see what that's like. Very different. It becomes fun, something they can do over a couple hours, and then they run around or play around Central Park looking place and have kind of fun experiences and understand each other a little bit better, at least what their powers are doing to them. And the Argonauts, in another scenario within the Fantasia Device, and the Argonauts are made up of Alex Prentice, Tessa, Hope, Mindy, Monet, David, Adeline, Charles Xavier, and Batman. And they're doing a scenario that's kind of based similar to Tomb Raider. And this is really to just, for fun, to do a bunch of puzzles together to see how things work. Bruce really focuses on Alex and Mindy to learn other skills like solving these puzzles, because a lot of the other ones, David just knows things that everybody on the team knows. And Charles and Monet reading each other people's minds, as well as Hope, and Tessa's just supercomputer sort of thing. So they're at a disadvantage without having any of that stuff. So Bruce, but they all kind of do things as a team and solve mysteries, and they actually pretty fun for them together to do that. Then we go to another scenario, which is Omega Dawn, and which is who is made up of Christopher Lord. Christopher Lord, Megan Morse, Calvin Rankins, Sam Guthrie, Big Barda, Isis, Alan Scott, and Satana. They make up a Omega Dawn, and they're doing a scenario playing volleyball on like a beach in Waikiki, but using their powers, which could be very complicated and fun saying, okay, well, how do you do this small game? But you got to control your powers enough to keep things within the boundaries, but still be able to, make it a challenge for each other and a challenge for yourself. And they play this into the evening. Each of those teams do these things. So, and then where we last left our heroes on Earth-210.24 on 11 July 2017, Stormwatch, they prepare to greet Intercept. They're up in the asteroid floating. Yes, it's another asteroid, not on Black World, but here. And we do a lot of alternate worlds, so it's something we have to get along with when you listen to my world. And someday I'll go over maybe what caused these worlds and to see how they're different from each other. But they're on the asteroid, and Intercept is bringing a bunch of refugee families to the asteroid to keep them safe, while the Stormwatch is going to the hangar bay to greet them. Joel broaches the subject that he didn't get to pick another Stormwatch member, and that his girlfriend, because Coriandar is his girlfriend, he just saved her. She was the person I picked to be here, which is kind of, Ray is, hey, wait a second, you got somebody still, whether you picked them or not. But Alex is already there in the hangar bay, not there around to hear the conversation. He's in the hangar bay to meet Intercept, and when the Intercept lands, they evacuate, but they leave Serenity, the ship, and that's where we leave that world. And then we go to Earth 10.3, 30 May 1993, and we are in LA. We love it. The Outsiders and Alex's team, called Eclipse, yes, they finally got a team's name, yay, prepare for battling the Pride tonight. Victor is, from Outsiders, Victor Mancha, is providing info from Mancha Machina, his high-rise corporation building, and providing information that he's gathering off the internet, putting it out to everybody on the ships. And he finds that one of the things that'll start this off is that there's a drug deal that's going off by dealers that work for the Wilders. So sending Tim Drake and Johnny Blaze there to handle this. And when they get there, they fight the drug dealers. Johnny Blaze turns to Ghost Rider, who burns all the stuff that they capture, and Dependent stares on one of the guys, and basically using also the chain to take out a lot of the guys. I'll not kill them, but. And meanwhile, Timothy Drake is using his newfound Jedi powers from a wish, or alternate, or controlling reality retcon, but his Jedi powers, lightsabering and fighting these guys. And then he actually, when he arrests them, sends them to the Savage Lands. And at the same time, Julian, Cassie, and Chris bust up one of the Wilders' car chop shops with a major shipment of illegal cars. And Julian goes in, trashing a lot of the equipment, while Cassie and Chris stop the thieves, capture them. But one of the thieves turns out to be Brian O'Connor, an undercover cop, which Chris recognizes him because he has the memories of our world, and lets Brian escape. And during the same time, Alex drives, after dropping off Nico, he drives the Chevy Blazer back on board Sean. And then after meeting with a few of his members, says, hey, Ren, let's spar. Practice fighting. Rachel on his team watch Kyle do his job, because if there's not doing anything else, he might as well do his graphic art work. Kyle does it on board the ship. And after all these events are happening, Chris gets informed that Molly and Carolina are being recruited by the government to go on board those floating carriers. And it's the USS Nimitz is flying over LA. And he sees that via Molly's watch, she's playing everything that's going on with her parents in there, and sees that Gene Hayes, her father, says, we're not going, we're going to go on the run. We're not going to let these guys recruit us. It's recruit, but that's the words that are being, and Carolina is going back to her parents who are in the same situation. They're being recruited by the government in some sort of sense, and we'll find out more. What's the government up to? What's President Gore up to? And in South Florida, Intercept investigates the new flying carrier USS America, and they're using Michael Holden's T-spheres and flying them up in there, and they can't be seen, and trying to gather information. They actually go on the bridge and find out that Andrew's old friend named Rita is up on the bridge with the CO. Why the heck is she there? We don't know. Also, Michael begins building a cloaking device for the base so that they can't be scanned or recruited by the government. And Tony Masters is showing Sarah and Carol the weapons cache. Then we go up to Asgard, where Tempest and Holly were talking to Volstagg about getting some jewelry for the wedding. And Volstagg, hey, why don't you get some of your own family jewels? And not meaning there, but so he goes. So Tempest and Holly go to their castle, if you will, in Asgard, and talk to Tempest's mom, Frigga, and says, hey, I would like to have a wedding ring for Rogue. And they still try to talk him out of marrying a mortal, even though she's very powerful. He's not listening, just like the typical god teenager. No. And he invites his family and his friends from Asgard to the wedding in Belladenico, which is supposed to be in a couple hours. As he tries to get back to Earth, though, he realizes that he's trying to leave Bifrost Bridge, and just jumping off of it should send him back to Midgard. Not happening. The dimensional dimensional wall is keeping him going there, and so he tries going through the plane to get there, Bifrost Bridge, and even using his harpoon, which will, like Thor's hammer, traverse dimensional boundaries. None of this is working, but he does use it as a time spot, and that works. Bifrost Bridge is a time spot. Uses that to go to the Empire State Building, and from there to Chris. But wait, Chris Ritz, who is a time spot, is actually in L.A. He should have said Carter, who is in Belladenico. So then he goes from Chris Ritz to Carter Ritz, and just two alternate versions of the same person, basically. And he returns back to his team in Belladenico. Meanwhile, Infinity is still on Nomanisan Island. Frank, Owen, and Hercules get a guided tour from Mirage. She explains that a couple things, that she's been working with the government, and realizes that she is getting the short end of this deal of, hey, I might be just Owen's assistant here. I run this place. But And she also realizes that Nomanisan Island is being annexed by Bella Denica, which is its own sovereign country in a sense. Not recognized by the UN yet, but we'll see how things go. But the United States is at least recognizing them for the purposes that they need. He gets some phone calls from, while Frank is there, he gets phone calls from Tempest and Rogue about their wedding. And he's just like, hey, there's people back on the island who can handle this. But at the end of it, Frank and the rest of Infinity. Infinity is also made up of, let's see if I can get to Infinity real quick. Not there, and not there. So we're down here and board there. Okay. Infinity is made up of Frank, Zana, John Jones, Hercules, Owen, Lania, and Merlin. And they all go board Juno and return to Bella Denico, except Owen takes one of Buddy Pine's vehicles and flies back. And that's for the gaming this week. If you like what we hear, hit like below. If you want to get notified when I do these weekly updates, subscribe and hit the little notifications bell thing. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. That'd be great. And recommend the site to other people. I'm trying to add these pictures, as you guys will see, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy all these things. Have a good night.